Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Vincent Vision. Watch out! This is going to be an Epic Universe Q&A video. I've been to the park a handful of times now, and I thought it would be fun to answer some questions that you guys have sent me about the park. A couple days ago, I put out a call on my Instagram to get some questions for this video, so thank you everyone who sent me some. I also asked my Patreon as well for things they would want to know about Epic Universe, so thank you guys for sending me stuff too. You guys asked a lot of really great questions about Epic Universe, and it was kind of hard to pick the ones I wanted to talk about, but I opted for some more varied questions all around the board. I actually just put out a video going into some of the logistics of Epic Universe, things that I think you should do first, ways to get around the park, where everything is in the park. Check that out over here. I literally just put that out right before this video, and in my opinion, it's a very simple but helpful guide to your visit to Epic Universe. I wanted to focus on some more casual, offbeat conversations here in this Q&A video. So hopefully you enjoy it. Let's get started. So what I'm actually gonna do is start this video off with questions from my Patreon page. We're actually gonna start off with a pretty big question right off the bat coming from Danny Garrity on Patreon. If you could do one thing at Epic Universe, what would it be and why? There's a lot of great stuff to do at that park, but I'd say if I had just shown up to Epic Universe and I could only do one thing before I had to leave, I think it would be the Monsters Unchained ride. To me, that is top to bottom, and I've already talked about it before, but it really is the coolest, most standout, the most best universal ride at Epic Universe, right? It is a really unique experience, and Nintendo has some really great stuff, but that exists in other places. And Harry Potter has some great stuff too. We've experienced a Harry Potter ride before. There is not any other ride at the Universal Parks that is like Monsters Unchained. It's got an amazing queue, it's got an amazing story, it's got a great ride experience. It really is like the perfect package. So I guess it would have to be Monsters Unchained. That's the one thing I could do at Epic Universe, and I'd be pretty happy. Adrian and Catherine had a little bit more of a logistical question. They wanted to know about Helios Hotel, and if you were visiting Epic Universe, could you enter the hotel from the park to see Bar Helios? Yes. And I say it like that because you are able to enter Helios as a park guest, and you are able to go up to Bar Helios as well, but I don't know if that's something they're gonna offer all the time. We still really haven't seen the park with like full capacity, busy. So it could be something that changes. Me and Ellison got food and drinks at Bar Helios, but we parked at the hotel, and when we were there at the first floor, we did notice that there was a sign that said park entry for hotel guests only. So it seems like if they wanted to, they could enforce it, but I also haven't heard of anybody being turned away from in park to go inside the hotel. That's kind of like a soft yes, you should, but if the park is really busy and there's capacity protocols in place, there might be a chance that they won't let you into the hotel. My good friend Justin Muniz had a couple good questions here as well. What is the best themed and smelling bathroom at Epic Universe? I'll give you my number one choice, my personal choice, and then I'll give you the honorable mention, Justin. So my first are the restrooms in How to Train Your Dragon. One in particular, right next to Spitfire Grill, is really great. Every time that I've been able to use it, it has been quiet. I think the restrooms in How to Train Your Dragon, specifically that one over there, has always been super quiet, which is really great. Best themed, I guess it has to go to Dark Universe. The toilets and the sinks in Dark Universe are literally black. It doesn't get more themed than that for a toilet. But I think for me overall, my favorite bathrooms in the park are the How to Train Your Dragon bathrooms, specifically the one right by Spitfire Grill. Travis Graham on Patreon asked a pretty important question as well. He asked if the Battle at the Ministry ride is going to be using virtual line once the park opens to the public. And I don't really know. I can make assumptions based off my experience in the parks and kind of trends I've seen with different rides opening. Obviously, the virtual line is a big hot topic right now, and a lot of people aren't very happy with it, understandably so. I'm not very happy with it. But what's actually kind of crazy is that as I'm recording this video, Universal is getting ready to close Battle at the Ministry for a week. The ride is going to be closed from May 10th to the 16th, in what I can only assume is them getting the ride ready to open officially on May 22nd and make sure it runs as smoothly as possible. And I think the virtual line system has been set in place because the ride cannot run reliably during previews. So they are going to take this week to get into the ride, fix what it needs, and then I'm assuming, I hope, that the ride is going to open without a virtual line. Or if it does, it should be a lot easier to get. If they are able to make the ride run more reliably and it's not breaking down all the time, they can get more ride vehicles on the track. These are things that we've seen happen with other rides. You know, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure was like this as well. If all of that works and they're able to get the ride running smooth, I think they will drop the virtual line. But it is really hard to kind of say whether or not it's going to happen. To me, that is the best possible outcome of all this. So fingers crossed that by the time the park opens up, you won't need a virtual line anymore. And Paul Anthony Moss, he asked about the food in the park. And let me just say this too. A lot of people have questions about food. I've been able to eat a lot of the restaurants, but I haven't had every single dish at all of the restaurants. There was a lot of questions about vegan options as well that I can't really answer because I haven't had a lot of the vegan options in the park. I feel like I'm a really bad theme park foodie. I apologize if I don't answer your food related questions. I just don't feel like I'm very good at answering them. But I will answer your other question, Paul, about early access into the park and what you should try to prioritize. If you are one of the first 100 people in line or in the front, right? I think you should go straight to Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. Assuming, of course, everything in the park is open reliably, I think that is the move. Now, if you're in there with a couple thousand people all doing early park entry, you kind of got a little bit more freedom in what you choose to do. You could also use this time to either A, wait to ride Battle at the Ministry if they're not doing a virtual line, or B, go wait in front of Isle of Berk to be one of the first people to meet Toothless, because that's also something that doesn't have a way to skip the line, and the Toothless meet and greet is a pretty big deal right now. So if that's something that's going to be part of your Epic Universe experience, it might not be a bad idea to wait a little bit longer so that you're one of the first people doing that. But as far as rides go, I would say if you can be one of the first people there, Donkey Kong is going to be a really, really big ride to knock out as early as possible. Now that we've got the Patreon questions sorted out, let's head into the Instagram questions and answer some of the ones you got here, because you got some pretty good ones here. One of the questions, or one of the things you wanted me to expand on, was sent by Lourdes Cachella. She was curious about the shade situation at Epic Universe because, as you might have heard or might have seen for yourself, there is a big lack of shade at Epic Universe. And I will say, as someone who has been there a lot, it's true. There is like no shade in this park. I don't know if it translates well on camera. Let me see if I can okay, yeah, boom. Look at that. Right there. I'm not trying to flex. Just look at my regular skin and then look at my Epic Universe arms right over here. The park is very, very bright. And right now, Celestial Park is still working on filling those trees out. And that's going to take a couple years. Same thing with something like Super Nintendo World. It's a really beautiful, colorful area, but all those bright colors just bounce right into your face. And there's no shade, there's no trees or anything like that. If you are going to Epic Universe and you feel a certain way about the heat and the sun, bring something. You need a hat, you need sunglasses. Gosh, I know a lot of people are bringing umbrellas now to the park to walk around. Heck, even UV sleeves, those like white sleeves you can wear and it covers your arm. I feel like I actually need to start wearing those because, look at this. Look, I can literally see the line right here in the video. So yes, the rumors are true, Lourdes. Epic Universe has got no shade. So please, if you're going, you gotta wear your sunglasses, you gotta wear a hat, you gotta put your sunscreen on and drink lots and lots of water, because in the summer, this place is, it's gonna be really, really hot. It's gonna be fun and amazing, but it's gonna be really, really hot. Jen Pool Lottie, I think I said that right, had a really great question about days at Universal. If 2 days could work, like if you were doing 1 day at Epic Universe and 1 day at its like the 2-park Universal and Islands, I think that totally works. I think for a lot of people, that's probably going to be the way they do Universal. Imagine if you're just doing a weekend where you fly in on Thursday or something like that, do Friday, Saturday, leave on Sunday. And I think that's going to be a really great Universal trip. Me personally, I think that one day at Epic Universe might not be enough, especially with the park getting ready to open and rides are currently being closed for extended amounts of time. There's really long delays. I think with one day, there's probably a chance that you are going to miss out on something big. You might want 2 days. To your point, one day at Epic, one day at the 2 parks. I think that works. I think that works. You can have a really good full Universal experience like that. And I think that's going to be the standard moving forward for a lot of people. And to kind of add to that discussion of like seeing things in the park, Elena Winter actually asked how bad I think the crowds are going to be at Epic Universe once the park opens. And I think maybe in the beginning, they're going to be okay. I always think of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. It seemed like it was going to be a really, really big deal. And the way it was hyped up made it seem like it was going to be a bazillion trillion people at Disneyland, almost in a way that it kind of scared people away from visiting. I think that's gonna kind of happen with Epic Universe. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised just based off people I've talked to and things I've seen online. It seems like a lot of people are going to wait to visit Epic Universe. And this is just a combination of, one, the heat, it's very hot, the reliability of the park. You know, now we're starting to get a lot more reviews and feedback based off preview experiences, and that might be kind of scaring people away from visiting right when it opens. And, you know, the crowds that people are worried about showing up to a brand new park opening. I think all of that together, it's not gonna end up being as busy as people think it's gonna be. Universal also, I don't think, wants it to be as busy. They want as much positive press as they can for their brand new theme park. I think they're gonna limit the amount of people that show up to the park for like the first couple weeks or so. And then once you hit like June or July, then it's gonna get really crazy and it's gonna be really, really busy. We still haven't seen the park really, really busy. That's at least how I'm expecting it in my head. Tiffany Giselle also had another question about park opening and, you know, kind of just asked if it's gonna be worth it to visit this year. And that is a really great question. You know, everything we just talked about definitely factors into the decision on whether or not you want to choose to go to Epic Universe right when it opens. Logistically, it could be a bit of a nightmare. The park could be overcrowded, everything will be broken down, but I think emotionally, you know, like as a theme park fan, as a Universal lover, I think it's really kind of cool to visit Epic Universe as soon as you can. And even if stuff is breaking down all day, you still got to visit in its inaugural summer or its inaugural year, you know? Like, I think it's just, I don't know, you want to see it while it's brand new. And I think I've mentioned it before in other videos about Epic Universe. Sometimes when like a ride or a show or something like that first opens up, everything's working. Think of like the Yeti at Expedition Everest. When that ride first opened up, people were getting the full experience. They were getting the waterfalls, they were getting the big Yeti animatronic swiping at them, and then it broke down, and then it never worked again. You might ride Monsters Unchained in the first year that the park opens and everything's working, but then one day Dracula breaks and Dracula never moves again. Stuff will go away, and you, if you kind of want to see the park how they intended it to be seen, you're going to usually get your best opportunity to do that right when the park opens. So for me, even though it might be a bit of a crazy day when you visit and rides break down all the time, I still think it's going to be a really great, exciting experience. You know, get there before all the cobwebs start showing up. Full Rum 085 asked if it was going to be worth it to go to Epic Universe. Yeah, it's awesome. It's got amazing rides, it's got amazing theming, it's gigantic. Epic Universe is great. Next question. Official Spinal YT asked about Cirque Arcanu, the Harry Potter show in the land. How is it like? He hasn't heard a lot of people talk about it. You're right. Not a lot of people have talked about it. I've seen the show, and I haven't really talked about it. It's really cool. It's got a lot of really great effects. Now, it's not exactly a Broadway level story that you're getting with Cirque Arcanu, but I think it's got some of the coolest special effects in a theme park show that I've seen. If you can, and if you have the time, you should definitely try to see it at least once. And maybe you'll want to see it again. I don't know. I've seen it, I think, once or twice now, and I feel like I'm kind of good for a while. But it is a very cool show, should be seen at least once. MUPG93 asked, how long is the walk from Stella Nova to Epic Universe? It's actually really great. We stayed at Stella Nova when it first opened up, I think in February. I was really excited to stay there because it was an opportunity for me to sort of walk over to Epic Universe. We were able to kind of get the closest we were able to get at the time. The walk is pretty great. It ended up being about a 5-minute walk from the entrance of the lobby to the crosswalk that leads you into Epic Universe. So for an Epic Universe focused trip, Stella Nova is going to be a great choice. In fact, it is going to be a much better choice than the other hotel that is very similar to it, Terra Luna. Terra Luna is pretty much identical to Stella Nova. It's got the same amenities, the same style, the rooms are the exact same, but it's farther away. And because it's farther away, it's kind of like across another street. The walking path to Epic Universe is so much longer. You like have to go up the sidewalk and then cross the road and then walk alongside the highway. There's a path, don't worry. And then you get to Stella. It's just enough walking where it's kind of annoying. And you might be okay with it starting your day because you're excited to go to Epic Universe. But after you've walked, the 30,000 steps and the 20,000 stairs that park has, the walk back to your hotel is gonna suck. So if you have the option out of Stella Nova and Terra Luna, I think Stella Nova is gonna be the way to go because you are so much closer to Epic Universe. And then I think I wanted to save the spiciest question for last, which comes from Petra Productions, and they asked me if I like Epic Universe more than I like Islands of Adventure. And that is hard to say. Epic Universe is the shiny brand new toy and really has shot up to be some of my favorite rides at Universal. And of course, all of the lands are the most themed, the most detailed, truly the best theme park lands that Universal has made. All of them. So there is so much good at Epic Universe. But Islands of Adventure, come on guys, Islands of Adventure has the sauce. And I'll say too, Islands of Adventure is not perfect, right? There's a lot of dead zones at Islands of Adventure. Lost Continent has nothing going on. It has Mythos, it's a great restaurant, we love it, but there's nothing going on there. Toon Lagoon is got some really fun water rides, but they get you so soaked that I barely ever ride them. Seuss Landing is really great for kids and families, but even then, it's kind of showing its age. One has a lot of history, has a lot of memories, and the other is shiny and new with some of the best experiences that Universal has created. So it's really kind of hard to say. Okay, I'll say this. Maybe I like Port of Entry more than I like Celestial Park as an entrance to the park, as a hub. Celestial Park is very pretty. It's incredible at night. At night, unbeatable. Cannot be touched. Port of Entry has the theming. It has the music. It is where your adventure begins. I'm gonna go ahead and say they're right there. They're right by each other. And there are some days where one gets a little higher than the other, but then there's other days where the other one goes up top. I like it. I can't tell. I can't say. So yes, as far as questions go, that is really all I've got. Those are the ones I chose to answer. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope I picked yours. If I didn't, I'm very sorry. I got a lot of really great questions from a lot of wonderful people who have been watching my videos for some time now, and I'm very thankful and grateful that you all continue watching my videos as we are here in our Epic Universe era. I hope you had fun hanging out with me while I answered these questions. If you are looking for more Universal content, please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you just stumbled upon this video. And of course, like my wonderful Patreon supporters, if you're looking to support me a little extra further, you could consider joining them. It's $5 a month, and it gets your name on this list. I'm doing this because I don't really know which one it's gonna end up on, Sometimes when you're filming with the camera, it's flipped. So right now at this moment, I can't figure out which one's which. So it's gonna be on this side or that side, okay? Your name will be there. And if you have any other questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Can't include it in the video because the video's already been made, but I'll do my best to answer it for you. Thank you guys for watching another Vincent Vision, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.